Good evening, folks. How are we all this evening? It's a wonderful evening. It is 27 degrees outside my front door right now. It is beautiful. But what brings Davy and the truck Davy to your screens tonight on the Two Davies channel? Comedy gold. And that comedy gold is on the screen. And what does that comedy gold say? That comedy gold says that Westminster are thinking about introducing a law which would prevent Scottish ministers, when on functions abroad in British embassies, from speaking with ambassadors about Scottish independence, actually stifling free speech. And what this particular article from Grim News by a Lady G of Tate tells us is that Alistair Jack wants to introduce a law in the Parliament which would forbid Scottish ministers from speaking with foreign dignitaries about Scottish independence under the threat of sanctions. So the colony of Scotland is to be sanctioned, and the people have to suffer if Governor General Alistair Jack introduces a law that says that our people can't speak to other people about our people and our desire, or some of our people's desire, for Scottish independence. Well, this is worse than the oppression that's happening in England. So what happened to the Supreme Court's ruling that the Scottish people are not oppressed? What happened to our basic human right of freedom of speech? What's happened to our ministers' basic human right of freedom of speech? Now, Alistair Jack in a committee earlier, the Scottish Select Committee earlier, a couple of weeks ago, told the Scottish Select Committee that speaking to foreign dignitaries about things like Scottish independence was like speaking about nuclear weapons on the Clyde. It's a reserved matter. Shut the fuck up, Scotland. So Alistair Jack is thinking about introducing a law which stymies freedom of speech of our democratically elected political leaders. But it doesn't just apply to our political leaders. Anybody in public service throughout the UK embassy network who speaks with any foreign dignitary at any level which pertains to Scottish independence, they will not be allowed to do it because apparently the Constitution is a reserved matter. I've got a wee bit of news for Alistair Jack. The Constitution doesn't exist. And in Scotland we have something called contract law. The Constitution is a contract between its people and its government. If you can't put that contract on the table, and you can't because the fictitious Constitution doesn't exist, then there's fuck all to it. But more importantly, it's a trade treaty, the Treaty of Union. That's the basis of it. And by your own admission, and by your own Attorney General's admission, no country can be held in a treaty against its will. Now let me remind you, Mr. Jack, in 1967, when the United Nations was trying to distinguish between nations and states, the UK declared itself as a state in a voluntary union, which any constituent part could withdraw from at any time. So it's not a good look, Mr. Jack and Westminster trying to introduce laws to stop the Scottish people and their representatives talking about a different future, a future that doesn't lie within the United Kingdom. Sorry, that's incorrect. Within Great Britain and Northern Ireland. The United Kingdom, of course, is a different thing. That has to do with the Treaty of the Crowns Nothing to do with the treaty, the political treaty, and the trade treaty, the Treaty of Union. But Mr. Jack, I've got another wee thing to tell you. You work for fucking us. You're not the Governor General. You don't get to dictate to our Scottish Parliament. You don't get to dictate to the Scottish people. You are a public fucking servant. And that means you serve us. We don't serve you. We're a constituent part of this state and we pay to be a member of this fucking state. And if we decide no longer to be a member of this state, this is none of your Queensland arse's business. But go ahead and try to introduce your stupid law, Mr. Jack, and we will show you civil disobedience like you've never seen before. We've done it with a TV licence. We've done it with a council tax. And we'll do it again. Don't ever try to stymie our freedom of thought or freedom of speech, Mr. Jack. And Lady J of Tay, thank you very much for bringing this to my attention. Well, by the way, folks, in case you didn't know, Westminster also have plans to deny Scotland of its legal system the way they did in Wales in the late 1800s. That, under the Internal Market Act, has been put in place by 2027. So if you value our legal system and our a democracy, it's time to stand up. And I'll tell you what, Mr. Jack, I'll take you on. There's enough people behind me that I can take you on in court. And I will take you on in court, Mr. Jack. How dare you try and stifle our freedom of speech or our freedom of thought? You pathetic little lip-spickle piece of bootlicking crap. And by the way, you can sue me for that one, Jack. You're going to lose that one and all. Anyway, folks, that's what brought Davey to your screens tonight. If you enjoyed this one, share.